Hello everyone, welcome back to another session of English with me, Jijo Matthew. Hope you are all fine and going on well. As usual, we can begin our session with a small warm up activity. I have certain expectations about you for this particular session. Be attentive throughout the session, think in your own way, and ready to learn. Moving on to the learning objective for this particular session, that you will be able to analyze and evaluate fairy tales. Before moving on to the session, I would suggest you to grab your pen or pencil, couple of A4 papers and your English notebook. If you are not having these items beside yourself, please pause the video here, grab all these items and come back as fast as you can. Hope you have done. Very good. We can move on to the essential question for this particular session. What makes a fairy tale different from other genres of stories? Pause the video here. Think about what makes a fairy tale different from other types of stories. Write down your answer in your notebook. Come back. Hope you have done. Some of you got the idea clearly, some are a little bit confused. Don't worry, by the end of this session, you'll get more idea about it for sure. Today, we are going to do a distill lesson. As you are already familiar, in this session, you will be having a number of activities, and every one of those activities you will be doing using your own ideas by yourself. As you are already familiar, fairy tale is a particular type of story which has some features of its own. In beginning, it will be having a specific type of beginning. Either it will be beginning as once upon a time, long, long ago, once in a country there lived, and such a manner. We can see certain specific type of special characters in this particular story. Either some of the character will be having a magical power. We can see good characters as well as bad characters. There will be a specific theme like rich versus poor, good versus evil, and foolishness versus wisdom. Always a fairy tale will be happy ending. So all these details, all these elements of the story, we already discussed a number of times since we started about fairy tales. Hope you got an idea about it. Without wasting any time, we can directly move on to activity number 1. Here, I'm going to provide you a story. You have to examine the story and justify it as a fairy tale, pointing out the features that you can find out from the story which makes it as a fairy tale. Pause the video here, examine and justify this story as a fairy tale. Come back. Hope you have completed. Very good. We can move on to activity number 2. Here I'm going to provide you a couple of stories. You have to go through each of them, compare and contrast the similarities and differences between these two fairy tales that you can find. Take your time, finish up this work in your notebook and come back. Hope you have completed. Very good. We can move on to activity number 3. Here also I'm going to provide you a story. You have to modify this particular fairy tale in your own ideas. What all changes you want to make in the story, go ahead with it. Take your time, finish up this work also in your notebook and go back. Hope you have done. Very good. Now it's the time for us to wind up our session. We started the session with a small warm-up activity. I showed you which are my expectations about you for this particular session. Then we discussed the learning objective for this particular session, that you will be able to analyze and evaluate fairy tales. Throughout the session, we were detailedly focusing, analyzing and evaluating a number of fairy tales. Then I gave you a set of instructions that you have to follow throughout the session. Then I asked you an essential question: what makes a fairy tale different from other genres of stories? Probably now you can answer: the beginning, the type of characters, the theme and ending makes the fairy tale different from other genres of stories. Then I gave you some activities. In the first activity, you are asked to go through a particular story, examine the story and justify it as a fairy tale, pointing out the features of fairy tale from it. In the second activity, a couple of stories are given. You are asked to compare and contrast the similarities and differences between those stories. In the third activity, another story was given and you are asked to modify and make change in the story as you like. Now it's a time for a small assignment. You have to go through this particular story and prepare an individual version of this particular story.
This is the story of Aladdin. Once upon a time there was a young man called Aladdin. Aladdin lived with his mother and they were both very poor. One day Aladdin's mean uncle sent for Aladdin to come and help him with some chores on his ship. Whilst the ship was sailing, Aladdin spotted a small island with a cave. Aladdin's uncle was too scared to go into the cave, so he sent Aladdin to look inside all by himself. Aladdin crept into the cave and saw an old lamp. "This lamp is very dirty. I will give it a clean," thought Aladdin. Aladdin started to rub the lamp and out popped a magical genie. "Hello," said the genie. "You have rubbed the magic lamp and I will give you 3 wishes." "I wish I was rich," said Aladdin. The genie waved his hands and said, "You are now rich. Go home to see your riches," before vanishing back into the lamp. Aladdin ran out the cave as quickly as he could, carrying the lamp. When Aladdin returned home and saw all the riches, he told his mother and his uncle the story about the lamp. Aladdin's mother was very happy for Aladdin, but Aladdin's uncle was very jealous. "I must get that lamp for myself," thought Aladdin's uncle. The next day, when Aladdin was in the market, he saw a beautiful princess. "If I was a prince, perhaps the princess would marry me," thought Aladdin. So Aladdin ran back home to the lamp and rubbed it once again. Out popped the genie. "Hello, Aladdin. What is your next wish?" "I wish I was a prince," said Aladdin. The genie waved his hands and Aladdin's home magically turned into a castle. "You are now a prince," said the genie, before returning to his lamp. The next day, Aladdin went to see the princess at the palace. When the princess and Aladdin met, they quickly fell in love, and soon got married and went to live in the princess's castle. Aladdin's uncle grew even more jealous. "I really must get that lamp for myself," thought Aladdin's uncle. So the next day, when Aladdin was out for a walk, Aladdin's uncle put on a disguise and went to the castle. "Hello," said Aladdin's uncle. "I am a lamp merchant. I will swap your old lamps for new ones." The princess did not know about the genie and the lamp, so gave the old lamp to Aladdin's uncle. Aladdin's uncle grabbed the lamp and laughed. "Ha ha! I have tricked you!" he shouted as he rubbed the lamp. Suddenly the genie appeared. "Hello! You have rubbed the magic lamp. I will give you 3 wishes." Aladdin's uncle wished to be king and for all of Aladdin's money and his castle. Suddenly, all of Aladdin's wishes vanished and he was poor again. Aladdin's uncle wasn't a nice king and was mean to everyone in the kingdom. No one liked the new king and wanted Aladdin to be the prince again. That night, when everyone in the kingdom slept, Aladdin sneaked into his uncle's castle and found the old lamp and rubbed it one last time. The genie appeared and said, "Hello! You have rubbed the magic lamp. I will give you one last wish." "I wish my uncle had never stolen the lamp," said Aladdin. Suddenly, Aladdin became the prince again. The next morning, Aladdin's uncle awoke to find he was not the king anymore. When all the people in the kingdom realized that Aladdin was the prince again, they all cheered. And Aladdin told his uncle to leave and never return. Aladdin and the princess were very grateful to the genie and kept his lamp safe in the castle. And they all lived happily ever after.
Take your time, finish up your activities and assignment. I'll be meeting you very soon with another video lesson. Till then, stay home, stay safe, take care of yourself.